Hi, my name is Guy Thomas. I'm the Customer Success Manager at Datasheet Solutions, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about hazardous chemical inventories. A hazardous chemical inventory is a necessary part of everyone's HazCom program. It's really the foundation for your program because it determines what safety data sheets you need and what kind of training you need to give to your employees. Now, our job at Datasheet Solutions is to try to make your life easier by providing tools to get this stuff done fast. And that's what we're going to go over in this video. I'm going to show you how you can conduct a hazardous chemical inventory with our Datasheet Solutions inventory app. And I'll tell you a little bit about what you're looking for and what kind of data we want to grab off those different chemicals we find. Your hazard chemical inventory is pretty straightforward. You're just going to work from one end of your facility to the other end of your facility, and you're going to keep your eye out for any aerosols, any paints, any cleaning chemicals, bottles of acetylene, cans of spray paint, bottles of bleach, any chemical that you see around, you're going to want to get into this inventory. OSHA has some exemptions, for instance, food and drink, pharmaceuticals, tobacco products, but those are almost entirely just, your employees' personal use kind of items. Now, when you collect the information on every chemical, it doesn't have to be too complicated. It's pretty straightforward. For the inventory itself, which is that required part of your HazCom program, you need at least the chemical name and the manufacturer name. For our inventory, we want to go one step further. We want to make sure that if there's some sort of product number, stock number, some sort of identifier that the manufacturer used, we need to grab that as well, because you have to think about the long run where we're going to be eventually trying to get safety data sheets for all of these chemicals. And sometimes that can be difficult unless you have that internal identifier that manufacturer uses. So you're going to be on the lookout for those as well. And I'll show you some examples of where this stuff is on the can, on the label, and what exactly you're going to look for. The traditional way to conduct a chemical inventory would be to walk around the facility with a pen and paper and write down everything you see. At Datasheet Solutions, we think that's kind of the old way, especially considering nowadays almost everyone has got a handheld computer right in their pocket. So why not leverage that? That's kind of what we said to ourselves. So we built an application. You access it through your SDS portal, and it's going to allow you to do a few things. It skips the pen and paper, and it puts it directly into your SDS library, which is the final form for your HazCom program. And B, it allows us to use the leverage of modern day UPC codes. And a UPC code, that's that little barcode you'll see on nearly every single product in existence these days. When you go to self-checkout, that's what you're scanning, a UPC code. Those are 12-digit barcodes that identify a product. And what we do is we cross-reference. We have a database of about 150 million products. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to use your phone, scan those UPC codes within your work area. That's going to send that information to our server. We'll search that 150 million chemical database, and we'll return to you the details that we're looking for our inventory. So the product name, the manufacturer name, the product number, and now of course we'll also have the UPC code, which comes into play later because if you scan the UPC codes of all the products in your inventory, you're going to get the bonus that any employee can then scan that later and directly access the safety data sheet without having to do any kind of search. So it's kind of a neat way to wrap everything up for your SDS inventory, is to scan every single UPC you can, get the data back from the server. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. If it's not, that's fine. We're going to add it. We're going to have that UPC, and you're going to just manually type in the information that we need. We also have the ability to take a photo, which is really nice as well, because when you have a photograph of the chemical, you can use that as a reference when you're going to find the safety data sheet from the manufacturer. It's a nice way to know, hey, this is the chemical. Here's the photo of it. Here's the photo on the website. This is the one I need. It also enables you to print out beautiful inventory sheets that actually have images of every single product. and you can use that for your inventory, you can use that for your training. It just unlocks a lot of possibilities when you take a photo of every chemical as well. So there are some prerequisites for conducting this inventory. You're going to need a custom portal from Datasheet Solutions. Luckily, that's very simple. You just give us a call. We'll be more than happy to set you up. And the inventory application, we don't block that for any of our users. So even if you're just trying out the demo, we want you to be able to leverage our inventory application just because it saves so much time. And it's a great way for you to pull those chemicals in, whether you end up being a long-term customer of ours or not. So once you have that custom SDS portal, the only other thing you're going to need to use the inventory application portion is you're going to need an admin login. And the good news is those are also very easy to get. You just ask your administrator for an account. They can create as many as are needed. There's no charge. And then you'll have an email and password that you can use to log in and activate our inventory platform. Now I'm going to walk you step by step through how to set up for and conduct your chemical inventory. First things first, go ahead and grab your mobile device and open up your web browser. On an Android device, that'll be Chrome. On an Apple device, that should be Safari. Go ahead and key in the custom URL of your safety datasheet portal. Generally, that'll be the normal URL of your company, but instead of .com, it'll be .sds.center. With the employee portal up, now you can log in with your administrator credentials. Go ahead and touch the cog icon and enter your email address and password. Finally, press the blue button to log in. When you're logged in, you'll have a new switch. It says Inventory Mode, right where you logged in. You go ahead and toggle that switch on. Once you've successfully toggled on inventory mode, you'll be taken directly to the Add Chemical page. The Add Chemical page has got three distinct sections. At the very top is the location selection, which is basically where the chemicals you're adding will be associated to. The middle area is for collecting the data points we mentioned previously, and then the bottom section are navigation buttons and saving buttons. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the location where we're conducting our inventory. This is something you're going to have to go back to every once in a while as you move through your facility. I'm going to go ahead and say we're in the garage. Now you can go ahead and begin adding the chemicals you find. I'm going to take us through a few use case scenarios. So the first one will be with this chemical. This is a 3M product, black super weather strip and gasket adhesive. There's no UPC code, so I can't take advantage of our UPC library. So we're going to have to manually add this in. I find the best way to simply select product name and then use the voice-to-text capabilities of the phone. Black super weather strip and gasket adhesive. Next up is the manufacturer name. Now remember, it's always best to turn the product to the back to find the manufacturer name. There's almost always going to be an address in small print on the back that includes the actual manufacturer or distributor. Sometimes you'll be tempted to use something that you see on the front of the label, but oftentimes that's a trademark instead of an actual manufacturer's name. So remember to always turn it around. In this case, this is 3M Automotive Aftermarket Division. 3M Automotive Aftermarket Division. There's no UPC, so we're going to skip that, but we are going to add the product number. Again, product numbers can appear anywhere. It looks like on the front, 08008. I like to look on the back to verify because a lot of times you'll see it there as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and add it. So 08008. Now the last thing you can do is take a photo, and we do recommend you do that. To take a photo, touch the gray picture icon in the middle of your screen. Get a good image of the front label. That'll be useful later when tracking down the safety data sheet. Once you've got the data collected, now you can save it. Saving it is easy. Just hit the green icon right in the middle on the bottom. So it's a little floppy disk. You'll see it says item added, and then it resets the page, waiting for your next chemical. Now I'm going to show you the power of our UPC database. So most chemicals are going to be like this. Something that can be purchased at the store, and it will have that UPC code on the back. To leverage that, instead of having to manually type in all the information, let's just go ahead and scan that instead. To initiate the scanner, you're going to have to hit the blue Scan UPC button in the bottom right-hand corner. The first time you do this, you will be asked for permission to use the camera, and we're going to need that permission in order to use the scanner. A camera view will enable, and then you'll be able to position the UPC in the screen. It pulled it in, it did a search, and you can see it actually got all the data from this bottle and pre-filled the form for us. It's always good to re-verify that most of it looks correct, especially if you see a product number. You want to make sure that product number is correct. And if you want to elect to change the photo, you can do that as well. This photo is perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it. And again, all you do is press the green Save button in the bottom middle. Now, as you conduct your inventory, you're going to be building up more and more chemicals, and oftentimes you're going to scan chemicals that are already in your inventory. We do have a way to flag that, and I'm going to show you that next. So this next product is already in our database, and I want to show you what happens when you scan something and it recognizes the UPC. If you look at the bottom, you'll see it says Match Loaded. This means that it found a direct UPC match already in the library. If you want to change something, you can, but if you want to leave everything the same and simply add it to the garage location, which is currently selected, just hit the green Save button. Occasionally, you're going to come across a UPC that just won't scan, regardless of what you try. For instance, I've purposely defaced this UPC so that it can't be read. But the system will have problems with reflective UPCs, and then, of course, if it's grimy or dirty, it just may not be able to be read. And you'll know that that's the case when it never switches from the camera view here. So if that happens, and you can still read those 12 digits of the UPC, just go ahead and close the scanner with the red button, and then manually key it in with your keyboard. Obviously, this does have to be exact in order to work, and you're going to want to add all 12 digits. That includes the smaller ones on the far right and left. As soon as that 12th digit is added, the system will run a search on that UPC code and return results if there are any. In this case, you can see it has returned the product perfectly, and everything looks good, so I'll just go ahead and hit Save. All right, next up I wanted to show you this can of paint. We're going to go ahead and open up our UPC scanner because it does have a UPC. We're going to scan it, and it says at the bottom, failed to find UPC match. And you'll know that that happens. Sometimes you might miss that status message at the bottom, but you'll know that no match was found when it returns you to the Add Chemical screen, and the only thing filled in is that UPC address you scanned. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and need to manually add this chemical. Now this is a paint, which is a special use case. And I always like to talk about this because you're going to end up with a ton of paint in your inventory. It's just invariable. No one ever throws any paint away. You might have 1,000 different types, and each one needs to be added to the inventory. So in this case, you're going to want to make sure you collect as much of the information that's available here on this label and put it in that product name. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and add it. So I'll go ahead and use my voice to text. Glidden Premium Interior Paint and Primer, Semi-Gloss, Base 2. Manufacturer, again, you can see it says Glidden there, but let's take a look at the back. And when I go to the back, what I see is this is manufactured by a company called PPG Architectural Finishes. So Glidden is just a trademark. PPG Architectural Finishes Incorporated. And then finally, you're going to definitely want to get the product number off these paint cans. In this case, it's GLN 6412 N. We'll take the photo, try to get as much of the information on that paint in the picture. Now, a lot of these paints are going to be custom blended for color. There's nothing we can do about that. What you're looking for is it gloss, semi-gloss, flat, and what the base is. So as long as you have the type of paint, the finish, and then the base, you're usually going to be good with your paints. And finally, I'll go ahead and just save that and add it to the inventory. Invariably, while you're doing your scanning, something's going to happen. You're going to forget to switch locations. You're going to make a mistake when you add something to the inventory, and you're going to want to make a change. You can access those kind of functions using the inventory list. To access the inventory list, press that gray button in the bottom left-hand corner with the number superimposed over it. And that's going to allow you to view all the chemicals at your currently selected location. Again, if you moved from janitorial to garage, but you wanted to see the janitorial chemicals, you'll need to go ahead and open up that location selection and switch back to janitorial. In this case, I'm going to go back to the garage, and I'm going to go ahead and edit an existing chemical. For instance, that Goof Off Pro Strength Remover. Now, depending on the status of a chemical, you can do different things. You can always edit a chemical using the pencil and paper icon on the far right-hand corner. You'll have some other options using the small left arrow. In this case, I can inventory this chemical here, I can remove it from this location completely, or I can archive this chemical. On a chemical that hasn't been added to the inventory all the way, meaning a safety data sheet hasn't been attached to it, you also have the option to simply delete. The chemical will be removed from your library, and you can scan it again, or you can just continue on. If you need to edit anything for any particular reason, that's easy as well. Simply touch the edit button. Oh, I forgot to add the manufacturer name, so I'll do that now, 3M. And then maybe you even want to take a photo. You can take care of all those options right through that system. The system's designed to search the database as you enter information to make sure that you're not duplicating any particular chemicals. So for instance, if I type in Clorox manually here, you'll see that I get potential matches at the bottom of the screen. You can swipe left and right to see those different matches. Use the blue up arrow button attached to each match to load it into the Add Chemical window. If the background color of your matches is gray, that just means they are potential matches. The color will change based on how certain the system thinks that a match might be actually the product. In this case, both the manufacturer name and the product name have matches in the existing database, and that's the reason they're yellow. If the system matches the UPC directly, it won't even show you the matches. It'll simply load that particular chemical. When you get that banner at the bottom that says Match Loaded, you can hit the blue button that says Create New instead to go back. As you can see, when a UPC is matched directly, the suggestion is actually green. That's all for today. I appreciate you guys' time, and I wish you luck in your chemical inventory. If you have any questions, please visit our website, just datasheetsolutions.com, and look for the documentations area. There you'll find further instructions on the inventory and other aspects of the Datasheet Solutions SDS Management Program.